So now we are going to make the Rice Krispy Treat house. So I have the marshmallows that we've made, and these are very specific to making the structures that are going to stay very strong and stable. And why do we need to make Rice Krispy Treats? Basically is because they are less weight, and then for the additional details that we are doing, which is going to sit on top of a cake, then we prefer to keep it lightweight to avoid the entire structure to collapse. We could do it with cake. I'm also going to show you and tell you what you can do to support the entire boot house if the top house is also going to be cake. Okay, so now this is the puffed rice, and you could use Rice Krispies which are coming in the cartons and not the smaller Rice Krispies that are available in the Indian baking supply store, which goes with chocolate making to keep the chocolate with a crackled effect. Okay, so we're not mentioning that or referring to that. It is the Rice Krispies in cereal boxes, or puffed rice works equally good. This is the regular puffed rice. Okay, and they are crispy. They break and then they are crispy. Okay, so I have that one, and I have a bowl of water because marshmallows are quite sticky and you need to be dipping your hands in water as you work. Now this is an acrylic board, and this board together like that is going to go and sit on top of that boot house, and that will be like the base for the house. And it's not always necessary that the house has to be smaller and the board bigger, but this particular structure and the inspiration that I picked up to work on actually had that extra balcony stuff around the house. So I'm using a bigger board, and now the cake is going to be, the house is going to be within this. Now the size of this house that I need to be making is the size of the boot, the top of the boot, right? That tall section, that was 3 inches. So I'm just going to use this board and have a 3 inch by 3 inch square all around, and I'm going to build the Rice Krispie house on this. So I'm just going to use a scale to measure as I'm building. Now this board is just to place this and work on it to give the details, and then finally I will lift it off this board. And on this board I need a center hole because we are going to insert a wooden dowel. It will be more like stacking because we want the top of the house to be attached properly to the boot. So the hole is a must. If you are not able to have acrylic board, you could use a regular board, cut it out to the size so you have an extra balcony that fits inside the size of the house. So the size basically depends on what is the size of the boot on the top that you're making. And if you're using a regular cake board, then you make the hole here, and you need that to insert the wooden dowel. So now I'm going to set this aside, and I'm just going to get the marshmallow microwaved, and once I have it, like microwaving it for 10 to 15 seconds, and then I'm going to mix it up and check. Now if it is melted, then I'm going to put puffed rice into it, and I'm just going to show you how to do the Rice Krispy Treats itself. So I'm going to use marshmallow itself on the board to stick. When you're using Rice Krispy Treats, ganache, buttercream, nothing is just going to hold them together except for marshmallow itself. Now if you're having a piece of Rice Krispy Treat and then you want to stick another piece on top of it, like you're going to increase the bulk, then you need to be using marshmallow itself as the coating for another layer to come and sit on top of that. So I've just used this like a glue. I'm going to set this aside because now into this bowl of the melted marshmallow, I'm going to add in the puffed rice. So I'm just going to start with just a little. You don't have like an exact measurement because it depends on the consistency in which the marshmallows are made, and also when you're actually making the sugar syrup that you do, everything else matters. So we just can't be giving out a measurement for this particular step. So what you need to actually look for is the strings that are forming, and if all the puffed rice are coated with the marshmallow, and you're just not seeing like lumps of marshmallows without any Rice Krispies. Like you can see here, there's just a little bit of enough marshmallow. That is just a very lesser portion, but just in case you find like there is quite a lot of such chunks of marshmallows, then you add in more. So you eyeball it, so you have the marshmallow fully coated and just forms a web like texture as you just spreading them out, and that is the one that is going to bind them together. So now there is enough ratio of the puffed rice and the marshmallows, and now I'm just going to put them together. Now to put them together, I need to just wet my fingers in water, okay, and then grab this together, and you find this sticky, then you need to wet the fingers again. Okay, I'm just going to collect now. You can see it is just starting to stick to your fingers, right? So when you find it is sticking, the moment you need to dip your hands in water. Just moisten up. You don't have to add too much water into the Rice Krispy Treats itself, and now it wouldn't stick because you have water there. And I'm just going to first make a ball and start to shape it. So the pressure that you're putting to keep them together, like the tighter you make, the stronger it is going to be. Okay, and now I'm going to build on top of this. I just made it like a smaller portion so I could show you how it is to actually build layers after layers in case you're just going to make a bigger structure. So now if you have to like make a bigger one, then if you're just going to have too much of it, and then you're just going to cut it out. So we just start small and then we're just going to build on top of this Rice Krispy Treats. So now I have some more marshmallows melted, like I've melted it in a different bowl, and then I've added it into this because there is some leftover Rice Krispies here, right? So I'm going to add more. So you can see it's all stretchy and all the Rice Krispies are coated. Okay. I'm just going to wet my fingers. I'm going to collect. Now when the first layer was just made, it is going to have that moistness from the marshmallows. So you can just add the other layer on top of that without an addition of a glue. Now it's getting sticky. The moment I know it is getting sticky, I just need to dip my hands in water and then go on pressing, and now it wouldn't stick. So using water is important. Now if you've just made a layer one day and then maybe you're just getting back to work on it the next day, then it will be like really dry. At that time you need to spread out a layer of marshmallow on this and then start adding the Rice Krispy Treats. So I'm just going to make a 3" by 3" cuboid. I'm going to make the top bit pointy. The key is to make it like really very tight. So you have the rough shape because we will be ganashing over this. So I'm just going to press it and make it tight. To just have the base shape. The rest we will be doing it with ganache. So now I have a pointy top, and this whole thing measures at the bottom for a 3 inch by 3 inch. I'm just going to press here. Now this will give us the room to shape this the way we want for some time. Now but after a night of keeping this in room temperature, it is going to become like super hard, but we could use knife to scrape through or use sandpaper to just give it the shape we want. But then try not to have like too much, because we can always add extra on top, but removing from this would be a little difficult. Okay, so now this I'm just going to set until it just firms up, and then I'll get back to show how to ganache this and then get the actual shape we want.